Hi folks, welcome to the Car DIY channel. Today we're going to be taking out this head unit and replacing it with a new one, and it's this guy right here. Now think about this head unit, the new one. It's a little bit intimidating if you look at the back of it. There's a lot more stuff to hook up than your normal head unit. We've got our normal wiring harness and all these other things. So this is an in-depth tutorial on how to hook up one of these aftermarket Android head units. If you kind of understand this stuff and you just want to see a review of it, check out my other channel, the Do It Yourself Dad channel, where we talk about upgrading all the tech on this older car. Now, if you're interested in picking up a head unit like this, I've got a link to this one in the description below. It's a pretty fair price for what you get. Now, when you go to install it, it's going to come with one of these, and this is your wiring harness that clips into the back, and then all these wires run into another harness in your vehicle. But this one comes with a few more things. It comes with some other wiring. We've got Wi-Fi antennas, microphones, GPS antennas, and additional USB ports that can get wired into the back of it. And with all this stuff sitting here, it does look pretty intimidating, but it's not hard if you go through it step by step. So we're going to go through a step-by-step installation of this thing right now. And there's a few other things you're going to have to buy in addition to this to get it to work in your car. The first thing you're going to need is this, and this is the wiring harness adapter that will adapt this wiring harness to your car. And this one, you're either going to have to use wire nuts or solder. I prefer soldering, and that's what we're going to do. But you can also use wire nuts if you're not comfortable with soldering. I do have a link in the description below to another channel that's not mine that'll show you how to do some basic soldering if that's something you want to tackle. And then the other thing you're going to have to get is this. This is a new faceplate for your car if your car doesn't already have one. If your car has a single unit, the ones that are about yay high, you're going to have to get a new faceplate that will fit what they call a double DIN unit. And these are vehicle specific. So you're going to want to search out your year, make, and model vehicle for this, and your make and model vehicle for this to pick up these two parts to make this whole system. So soldering your wiring harness together seems to be the most intimidating thing for people, and it's really not that bad. It just is a lot of stuff. So the wiring harness that comes with the unit, each one of these is marked, so it'll tell you what it's going to. And then the wiring harness that comes, the adapter for your car, same thing. They're all color-coded. If you're lucky, they're even color-coded the same. They may not be, but they both should be marked, or the packaging will come with a little cheat sheet that'll tell you what goes to what. Now, some of these may not go across. Like this one has things for steering wheel control. My car doesn't have steering wheel control, and it'll tell you what to do. It came with a little thing here that tells you here what everything goes to. And then in the case of like steering wheel controls, if you don't have it, you either clip the wires or cap them. So what you're going to need to solder is obviously these instructions, soldering equipment, which would be a soldering iron, solder, and some shrink wrap, and then some sort of like a hair dryer or lighter or something like that to shrink your shrink wrap. I prefer using something more like a heat gun. It's a little more consistent than using a lighter where you could burn or melt things. So let's get started. We'll just go one by one and put this thing together. Okay, there we go. So now through the power of video editing and time travel, we've got all of our connections soldered up. A couple of things just to note on this vehicle, we have extra ones, steering wheel controls, power antenna, rear camera, and steering wheel key. And all of these are things that I don't have on this vehicle, so we're not using them. I'm not going to cut these wires off in case we add things later that we might use these wires for, but I am going to cap them so these don't short out on things. Another thing to note is the way these are set up, there is a wire that is to go to your parking brake. And that is because the law says that you cannot use the video features, watch movies and things like that on these screens while you're driving. So the parking brake has to be engaged. There are videos out there that will recommend that you solder the the wire from the parking brake to the chassis ground and therefore bypass that. I'm not going to recommend that because that is illegal, but you do want to attach that to your parking brake, so video features only work when you are parked. So now we have all these raw. We're just going to take each one of these little bits of insulation, move them up over the solder joints, and we're going to shrink them in place with a shrink gun or a heat gun. So there we go, our wiring harness is done. You could run some zip ties around this to just clean it up a little bit, and that's what I'm gonna do real quick. And then this thing will be ready to start going into the car. So there you go, wiring harness done. Every car is different, so you're gonna have to pull out the dash one way or another to pull your old unit out. And you're probably gonna have to pull on some panels. So do yourself a favor, buy yourself a panel puller piece. These are made out of plastic. They're designed to go in and pull panels out of cars. Don't use a screwdriver. Using a screwdriver will do nothing but just mar up the finish of your car and put little grooves and scratches everywhere. These are extremely inexpensive. A lot of these kits actually come with them. So check and see if the unit you're buying comes with one. If it doesn't, I've got a link down in the description below to pick one of these up. They're really cheap. I'm sure you'll use it again. So grab one of these. If you don't have one of these and you're in a rush, you can use like a paint scraper that's plastic or a popsicle stick. You can kind of shave the end down, but just don't use a metal screwdriver. Now with the dash loose here, no matter what kind of car you have, again, you're gonna have a lot of cables back here. So you gotta go behind, make sure you get every single one of these cables loose. Here we've got cables for the flashers, all the AC controls, and also the stereo. So you wanna get all of these loose before you remove the entire faceplate here. So there you go, that's out. And you're gonna find inside your dash, you're gonna have all your wiring here for the AC controls and whatnot, and then you're also going to have the wiring for your stereo. So this is the harness that went with the old one, so we're going to remove that, take that out, and now we're going to have the harness to go to the new stereo. So now before you start buttoning everything back up, you've got the hard part done, you've pulled everything apart, you've got your soldering done. Hook up your wiring harness to the car. It should just click in and then click into the back of your radio. Make sure it's secure. And now just take a second, key on the car, and make sure everything powers up. Now we don't have like the antenna hooked in, so the radio is not going to work right now, but at least we can power it up, make sure everything works. You can turn up the volume and make sure that your speakers are responding, you're getting sound out of them before we start the process of everything else. So here everything looks good, it's powering up, and we're going to give it a second so we can just crank up the volume and make sure we get some static out of the speakers. Okay, so it's fired up, it's on the tuner right now. And we're just going to turn up the volume here. And hopefully you can hear that. But we have static coming out of all 4 of our speakers. So it means that is working. So now we can start the process of hooking everything else up and getting everything else working. Now the next step we had talked about was getting all the accessories hooked up. And we've got a couple different accessories that are going to run on this thing. There is a microphone, which we're going to run up the A-pillar right there, so it gets a good reception right off our face when we're talking on the phone. There's a USB cable if you need to hook additional USB stuff into the car or charge off of it, which is nice. There's an easy connect and then a quick charge on this thing, so we can hook that up. There is a Wi-Fi antenna, because this thing does have Wi-Fi. You can hook it to tether it to your phone, or you can hook it to your house when you're home to run updates or download music to it. So we've got a Wi-Fi antenna, and then we also have a GPS antenna. And you do want to get these things up out of the inside of the dash, because the dash has got a lot of metal in it, and that's going to interfere with your GPS and your Wi-Fi and those antennas. So everything's going to vary by car, so you're going to want to look up online and see what the best placement is for these, or at least how to get them up out of your dash. You could run these all the way out and put them on the outside of the car, or you could just run them up and put them on your dash up here, which would give you much better reception. Once you've got everything done behind the dash, our next step is to actually remove from this face plate that was in the dash the old stereo. So this is the old stereo here, and I think when I was doing this, I also found out why I was having a rattle inside the dash. Whoever put this thing in never bothered to actually screw it to anything. They just kind of shoved it in there. So do yourself a favor. When you're doing these things, do them right. Put all the right parts in there. Screw the thing in. Make sure it's secure before you button your car up. So we're going to go in there and just kind of undo this sucker and get the old unit out so we can get the new unit in. So there we go. Now we've got the old piece out, the old stereo out, and our faceplate is nice and blank. And remember, we got this little filler piece. This is the new piece. And the new piece is going to go in there just like so. It should just clip right in place. So now we have the next piece, this little bezel that goes over it. And this fills in the hole in your dash. And this was the one, you do need to buy this one specific for your car. So search out your particular vehicle. Make sure you get the right part. And it should just snap right in depending on your vehicle. Now, I really should have probably done this sooner, but I'm going to recommend you put down a towel on your workbench if you're working on any sort of an unclean or rough surface. We're going to put the towel down, so if you do have to flip this thing over, you're going to be placing it against the towel and not the screen into your workbench. So we've got this piece, and now we're going to take the old brackets, and reinstall it here so we can slide the new stereo in place. So now with our bracket in place, we can take our stereo, and this one is actually designed to slide in from the back. So we're going to slide it in from the back very carefully, line it up, and push it through so it protrudes out to the front and winds up nice and flush. So it may take you a little bit of finagling to get everything lined up just perfect. I had to unscrew and rescrew it a couple times to get it all lined up, but here it is. It's nice in there. It's set in a little bit. The way this one is designed, it does set it in a little, which is actually nice because it shades it a little bit when you're driving down the road. But at this point, this part's all done. So we're ready to put this back in the dashboard and wire it up and go enjoy our new sound system. Now running the wires can be tricky because you're running them into tight places. So if you've got giant hands like me, recruit a 9-year-old like Kaylee here. Kaylee's my daughter, and she has her own YouTube channel called Kaylee's Kitchen. So check that one out as well. It's all kid fun, safe cooking videos, so be sure to hit her up and subscribe to her channel as well. She's helping me pull some of those little wires through the dash, and she's helping pull the wires up into the center console so we can hook them to our head unit. So now with our head unit installed back into our panel here, we get to install it into the dash. And this looks pretty intimidating. This is a big mess of wires, but fortunately, this is pretty hard to screw up. And the reason I say that is because every one of these little connectors is different. So as long as you make sure that every one of your ports has a connector in it, you should be fine. So we're just going to go through here one by one and connect up each one of these connectors to the back of the stereo. And also, don't forget, you also unhooked a bunch of things that went to things like your air conditioning controls, your hazard lights, and all that other stuff. So as you're going through here, there's a lot of cables to hook up. So just carefully go through one by one. Make sure you hook each one of them up. And now with all of our wires hooked in, it's time to very carefully slide this guy back into the dash, making sure we're not pinching any wires along the way. And before we snap everything in place, now's a good idea one more time to just test everything out. Key everything on, make sure all your controls are working, make sure your hazards work, make sure all these controls kick on and off, and make sure that everything is hooked up. Now I just noticed I'm getting static on all my radio stations, and that's because I forgot to hook up my radio. If I hadn't checked this, I would have buttoned the whole thing up and then figured that out. So we're going to key the car back off, slide this back out, find that radio wire that I omitted, plug him back in, and we're going to try that again. Now I am in my garage, so it's a little harder to find radio stations in here, but I can hear stuff coming through, so I know it is hooked up. So now with all that, we can pop the whole thing into the dash and get her all set. So now that we've got it installed, let me give you a little tour around this thing. It gives you all the functionality that you had in your previous head unit. So you've got a radio tuner here, and this radio tuner actually works better than every radio tuner I have in all of my other vehicles. All 4 cars, my trailer, works better than all of them, in my area at least. You've got all of your phone applications. So you can come in here, you can make phone calls just like you could before. It's got a microphone up here, or you can put the external mic on. To listen to the music on your phone, you can jump in here to your music. You can do everything from your phone through this. So if you're wondering, I use an iPhone and I've had 0 problems pairing this thing up. It's worked great. Jumping back here to the home screen, if you use Google Maps for navigation or Waze, you can run those. If you have another app that you like to use, you can jump in here to the Google Play Store and download anything that you've used. The Fuely app, Google Gmail, anything like that, all of it can be installed on here. So it's like having an entire computer in your car. You can even go ahead and watch YouTube. You can tune in here and watch your favorite YouTuber right there in your car. So if this thing gave you any ideas for things that you can do to your car, if this seems like something you might want to do to your car, all these products are linked down in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what kind of stuff that you might want to do to your car and what you think I should do to this car. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned.